What if your life is already a test of frequency, one you didn't know you were taking? Right now, the quantum field is reading your signal with perfect accuracy. Not the words you say, not the goals you write down, but the vibration you embody moment by moment. And here's the unsettling truth. Only a fraction of people can pass this test, because only a few know how to hold coherence. The question is, are you one of them? Every single human being is taking the test, whether they know it or not. The moment you wake up, before you even open your eyes, your body is already transmitting a signal into the field. The rhythm of your breath, the heaviness in your chest, the thoughts rising from the shadows of your subconscious, all of it adds up to one message, one broadcast. The field does not wait until you are ready. It does not ask for permission. It reads instantly, with ruthless accuracy, and mirrors back what it receives. This is why so many people feel trapped in cycles. They call it bad luck, they call it karma, they call it destiny. But what if none of those explanations are true? What if what you call fate is nothing more than the test scoring itself in real time? The relationship that breaks down in the exact same way. The financial limit that snaps back like a rubber band. The anxiety that greets you every morning as though it were scripted. These are not coincidences. They are proof that the field is returning the precise frequency you broadcast again and again until you notice the code you are carrying. Imagine standing in front of a perfect mirror. You smile, it smiles. You frown, it frowns. Now imagine begging the mirror to change. Please show me a happier face. But the mirror does not respond to words. It responds to expression. The quantum field is that mirror. It cannot distort. It cannot lie. It reflects only the coherence of your being. And here is the devastating truth. Most people never pass the frequency test because they are fluent in incoherence. They think one thing, they feel another, and they act in ways that betray both. The field listens to the strongest frequency, and the result is static. And yet, the test continues every moment. You do not get to skip it. The exam is written in repetition. Every time the same struggle returns, it is not proof of your weakness. It is evidence of the signal you have not changed. That is why loops feel so relentless. That is why lessons repeat with surgical precision. Not because the universe is cruel, but because the field is precise. Ask yourself honestly, how many times has life handed you the same scene in a different disguise? A new partner who feels just like the old one. A new job with the same suffocating patterns. A new chance that ends the same way the last did. Did you really believe that was random? Or is it possible that the hidden test was running all along and the field was showing you the frequency you have yet to master? Here's the secret most never realize. The quantum field is not interested in what you say you want. It does not bend to affirmations you don't believe or goals you write while your body is shaking in doubt. It listens deeper. It listens to the frequency beneath the words, to the vibration beneath the thought. It listens to the code that you embody moment by moment, whether you are aware of it or not. That is the test, and it cannot be cheated. The tragedy is that almost nobody knows they are being tested. They spend their lives thinking they are waiting for the universe to bless them, for luck to turn, for the right opportunity to appear. But the truth is the opposite. The field has been waiting for them, waiting for the signal to shift, waiting for coherence to replace static, waiting for them to finally realize that they were never victims of randomness. They were participants in precision. So pause here and really let this sink in. You have been broadcasting all along. You have been collapsing timelines with every breath, every thought, every emotion. And the results you call reality are nothing more than the score of the hidden frequency test you've been taking every day of your life. You've just seen how the hidden test repeats itself in your life, looping until you recognize the signal. But here's the question most people never ask. Why does the loop exist at all? Why does reality reflect back with such ruthless precision? To answer that, we need to look at what reality actually is. The truth is that you are not moving through empty space. You are immersed in a living ocean, the quantum field. Every possibility exists here, surrounding you, flowing through you. Every outcome is already written as potential. But none of it solidifies until you, the observer, collapse it into form. This is not philosophy. This is the observer effect. one of the foundations of quantum physics. A particle is not a particle until it is observed. Until then, it is only a wave, a shimmering cloud of probabilities. And you are the one doing the observing, whether you realize it or not. Think about what that means. Every thought you focus on, every emotion you sustain, every silent belief buried in your subconscious, they are all measurements. They are the chisels that sculpt possibility into reality. And the field, with absolute accuracy, mirrors back the frequency of those measurements. That's why the loop exists. It's not a curse. It's not bad luck. It's the exact frequency you broadcast, showing itself again and again until you finally understand the code you're carrying. Imagine it like a radio. The field is broadcasting every station at once. Abundance and scarcity, love and loneliness, vitality and struggle. All of them are there, waiting. But you can only hear the station you are tuned to. You don't get jazz while tuned to heavy metal. You don't get abundance while vibrating in fear. You get the station that matches your frequency. That's all the loop is. Proof that your dial has never moved, and here's where it gets even deeper. The observer is not just the thoughts you think consciously. It's not the affirmations you repeat when you're desperate. It's your entire system. The subconscious patterns you absorbed years ago, the emotional states you rehearse without noticing, even the electromagnetic field of your heart. They all broadcast. Science has shown that the heart's electromagnetic field is thousands of times stronger than the brain's. When your heart and mind are aligned, your signal is coherent, powerful, undeniable. But when they are out of sync, the field reads only chaos. And the mirror returns chaos. This is why forcing never works. You can declare, "I am wealthy," all you want. But if your body is still bracing for loss, if your nervous system is addicted to scarcity, if your heart is clenched in fear, the field will mirror that frequency, not because it is cruel, but because it is exact. Forcing is friction in the quantum. Alignment is signal, and now the revelation becomes clearer. The frequency test is not a punishment. It is precision. The loop is not life being unfair. It is life showing you the code you've been running. The repetition is not proof of failure. It is the diagnostic, the hidden exam that keeps asking, is your signal coherent yet? Or are you still scattering static? The moment you see this, the test itself transforms. Because you stop reading the loop as fate and start reading it as feedback. Every repeated pattern is simply a reflection of the station you're tuned to. And if you can shift the frequency, you can collapse an entirely different timeline. So if the field is this precise, if the mirror is this accurate, then why do almost all people fail the test? Why do they spend their whole lives repeating the same loops, mistaking feedback for fate? The answer is as subtle as it is devastating. Most people live their lives believing that effort is the signal. They think if they force harder, push stronger, repeat affirmations longer, the universe will eventually listen. But the field does not respond to force. It responds to coherence. And this is where the great error begins. Look closely at how people try to change their lives. They pile on rituals. They memorize affirmations. They build vision boards with desperate precision. But beneath it all, their bodies are still vibrating in fear. Their hearts are still broadcasting scarcity. Their nervous systems are still addicted to survival. And so their words become noise, their rituals become static. They're trying to overpower the mirror instead of changing the reflection. Imagine standing in front of that perfect mirror again. You frown, and the mirror frowns. You tell it 100 times, smile, smile, smile. But the mirror doesn't care about your words. It only reflects your expression. That is exactly how the quantum field operates. It mirrors the frequency you are, not the frequency you wish you could be. And the harder you try to manipulate the mirror with words, the deeper your frustration becomes. And here lies the hidden trap. The more they try, the more noise they create. The more noise they create, the weaker the signal becomes. They declare abundance, but constantly check their bank account in panic. They visualize love, but scan every interaction for rejection. They chant health, but wake up every morning searching for symptoms. Each action, though dressed as manifestation, is dripping with mistrust. And the field is precise enough to read the mistrust, not the words. The tragedy is that this error feels like progress. People think they are doing the work, They think the effort itself will bend reality. But effort that comes from lack is not a signal of abundance. Effort that comes from desperation is not a signal of trust. In the quantum world, trying harder does not strengthen the broadcast. It fractures it. This is why the loop feels inescapable. They are trying to break free while carrying the same frequency that created the prison. They are rehearsing freedom while vibrating in captivity. And the field, flawless in its response, simply mirrors the captivity back to them, again and again and again. Pause and ask yourself, how many times have you thought you were changing, when in truth, you were only layering new noise on top of the same old frequency? How many times have you declared a new beginning, only to find yourself in the same outcome months later? Did you really change the signal, or did you just decorate the static? The error is not laziness. The error is not ignorance. The error is incoherence. A life lived in contradiction, the mind saying one thing, the body believing another, the heart hiding in fear, can never pass the frequency test. Because the test is coherence, and coherence cannot be faked. Now the hidden precision of the field becomes clear. The repetition of loops is not punishment. It is feedback. It is the perfect reminder of where your signal is fractured. Every failure, every disappointment, every cycle is the mirror showing you, this is the frequency you are still carrying. And until you tune it, the loop will remain. And this is where the test reveals its true purpose. Because if the error is incoherence, then the solution cannot be more effort, more force, more noise. The solution must be alignment, a clean signal, a state where thought, emotion, and action are no longer scattered fragments, but one unified broadcast. This is not about adding more to your life. It is about subtracting what scrambles the signal, the trauma that still whispers in your body, the fear that still contracts your heart, the old stories that still run in your subconscious. When those dissolve, even slightly, your frequency begins to clear. And when your frequency clears, the field finally has something coherent to mirror. Think of a radio again. You don't get a clear song by adding more static. You get a clear song by tuning the dial until the noise disappears. That's the method: tuning, adjusting, refining until the signal is clean. So how do you tune? First, awareness. You cannot shift a frequency you refuse to see. The loop itself is the clue. Every repeated struggle is showing you the exact note you're broadcasting. Instead of resenting the loop, study it. What does it reveal about your signal? Scarcity, fear, distrust? The pattern is the diagnostic. Second, embodiment. You cannot think your way into coherence. You must feel it. This means noticing how your body responds in moments of stress. Noticing how your breath shortens, how your chest tightens, how your stomach clenches. These are not random reactions. They are the language of your signal. And when you begin to regulate them through breath, presence, awareness, the frequency begins to shift. Third, integration. Coherence is not just thoughts, not just emotions, not just actions. It is all of them, aligned. You cannot declare abundance while acting from fear. You cannot visualize love while closing your heart. You cannot affirm health while punishing your body. The field reads the whole system, not the fragments. Alignment means all layers speaking the same language. And finally, surrender. This is the step most avoid, because surrender feels like losing control. But in truth, it is the deepest alignment of all. The moment you stop gripping so tightly, the moment you release the need to force, the field finally has room to deliver. Coherence is not tension, it is clarity. And clarity requires space. Passing the frequency test is not about perfection. It is about coherence. Even brief moments of alignment create a gravitational pull in the field, bending reality toward you. Every time you hold that alignment, even for a few breaths, you collapse a new timeline. And slowly, those moments stitch together into a life. And so, the hidden truth emerges. The test is not impossible. It was never designed to crush you. It was designed to train you, to refine your signal, to strip away the noise until what remains is your clearest broadcast. That is the hidden method, and that is why so few discover it. Because it is not complicated, it is simple, and simplicity feels almost unnatural in a world addicted to effort. And if this is the method, awareness, embodiment, integration, surrender, then the question becomes sharper. Why do so few people ever embody it? Why, if the path is so clear, does almost everyone stay trapped in static? Because coherence is disarmingly simple, and simplicity terrifies the human mind. We are trained to believe that complexity equals value, that the harder it feels, the more real it must be, that the universe is some puzzle to solve rather than a mirror to reflect. So instead of tuning the signal, most drown it in endless noise. They chase more rituals, more affirmations, more steps. And in the chase, they collapse back into the very frequency they are trying to escape. The field does not reward effort. It rewards clarity. Yet most live as though effort were the key. They grind harder. They force stronger. They grip tighter. And every grip is a message of mistrust. Every struggle is a declaration of scarcity. Every desperate effort broadcasts the very opposite of what they say they want. So the field answers precisely, repeatedly, relentlessly. Mirrors scarcity when you vibrate in lack. It mirrors fear when you broadcast mistrust. It mirrors chaos when you scatter incoherence again and again and again. Until the signal changes, think of your own loops. How many times has life repeated itself with surgical precision? The same argument in a different relationship. The same ceiling in a different job. The same anxiety in a different year. Did you believe those were random? Or can you finally see that the hidden test was running all along, showing you the frequency you were unwilling to face? This is where the intensity sharpens. Because the test does not pause. It does not wait until you are ready. Every thought, every breath, every emotional pulse is collapsing waves right now. Your future is not something you will meet later. It is being sculpted in this exact moment by the frequency you are carrying. So let the urgency cut deeper. Which signal are you sending in this instant? Which timeline is collapsing as you sit here? Which version of you is crystallizing into reality? The one still entangled in static, or the one finally aligned in coherence? And here's the paradox that few want to face. The field is not demanding more. It has never asked for more. It is only asking for coherence, the quiet precision of alignment, the steady hum of a clear signal, the simplicity of becoming one frequency instead of many. But simplicity feels dangerous. To surrender the noise feels like losing control. To stop forcing feels like giving up. And so people cling to their effort, never realizing that every desperate push is another signal of lack. They fail the test not because they cannot pass, but because they cannot stop gripping. Now the repetition becomes a warning. The test is running, always. The field is listening, always. Your signal is speaking louder than your words, always. And if you keep sending the same fractured broadcast, you will keep collapsing the same broken timeline. Not because you are cursed, but because you are precise. This is why urgency matters. You do not have infinite time to keep circling the same loop. Yes, the field is timeless, but your experience is not. Every day you stay incoherent, you collapse another version of life you did not consciously choose. Every moment you delay coherence, you strengthen the static. So the question becomes impossible to ignore. How long will you keep failing a test you already know the answer to? How long will you keep decorating the noise instead of tuning the signal? How long will you keep mistaking effort for alignment when all the field has ever wanted from you is coherence? So if the test is running, if the field is listening, if your signal is always collapsing timelines, then what happens the moment coherence is finally reached? This is where the entire narrative of your life changes. Because in the quantum field, coherence is not just clarity. It is power. It is gravity. It is the force that bends reality toward you. The moment your thoughts, emotions, and actions hum as one, the field cannot resist. It responds instantly, precisely, inevitably. And this is the revelation that almost no one believes until they live it. Reality does not slowly shift when coherence arrives. It collapses, like a wave instantly becoming a particle, like fog snapping into crystal. One moment the probability exists, the next moment it is fact. Think of the times in your life when something appeared almost magically. A chance meeting that changed everything. An opportunity that seemed to fall into your lap. A breakthrough idea that arrived the moment you stopped forcing. What tied them together? Alignment. You weren't gripping. You weren't broadcasting static. You were open, available, coherent, and the field precise as always mirrored it back in an instant. This is the inevitability of coherence. The loop cannot survive it. The static cannot coexist with it. When you enter coherence, the old identity begins to dissolve. The timelines built on fear, scarcity, and mistrust collapse into nothing. And the version of you aligned with abundance, love, vitality, that version crystallizes into form. It is not about getting what you want. It is about becoming the frequency of what you want so completely that the field has no choice but to reflect it. You are not begging reality to change. You are embodying the change, and reality folds around you. And here's the breathtaking part. The moment coherence arrives, the test is no longer something to fear. It becomes confirmation. Because the field does not only mirror your incoherence, it mirrors your alignment too. The loops stop repeating, not because they were broken, but because they are no longer needed. The mirror is clean. The code is rewritten. Pause and imagine what that feels like. To wake up and know that your body, your mind, your heart are no longer broadcasting different signals, but one unified frequency. To see life meet you with synchronicity instead of struggle. To walk through your day not in search of proof, but in recognition of what is already unfolding. This is the transformation hidden in the test. It is not about punishment. It is not about failure. It is about training you into coherence, so the reality you were meant to live can finally emerge. And so the climax is simple, yet absolute. Once you align, reality bends. Once you broadcast one signal, the field mirrors one reality. Once you stop scattering static, the test is passed. And once the test is passed, life is no longer a loop. It becomes a flow. So ask yourself one last time, here in this moment, are you ready to stop mistaking effort for alignment? Are you ready to stop clinging to static and finally send the signal? Because the truth is, the field is not waiting. It is listening now, and your next reality is already collapsing around the broadcast you are carrying in this very breath. And so here we are. The test is not hidden anymore. The loops are not mysteries anymore. The field is not silent anymore. You've seen that it was never about punishment, never about chance, never about luck. It was always about signal, about coherence, about the code you broadcast moment by moment, and how the field mirrors it back with perfect precision. This is the invitation life has been whispering all along. Stop decorating the static. Stop repeating the noise. Stop mistaking effort for clarity. Your power has never been in forcing reality to bend. Your power has always been in becoming coherent enough that reality has no choice but to bend. So ask yourself right now, what are you broadcasting? What story is vibrating through your system? Which timeline is already collapsing around your signal? Because whether you realize it or not, the next chapter is already being written. The only question is, are you writing it consciously or letting the static write it for you? And maybe this is the real secret behind why so few ever pass the test. Because they are waiting for the field to prove itself, when all along the field has been waiting for them. Waiting for you. Waiting for the moment you finally broadcast the signal you were always meant to carry. If you felt something shift while listening, if something inside you is stirring, hold on to it. Don't let it fade back into noise. Let it guide you into your next step, your next choice, your next breath. Because coherence begins now, not later. And if you are ready to keep tuning your frequency, ready to keep uncovering the hidden mechanics of the field, then stay with this space. Subscribe so you don't miss the next step in this journey. Because in the next video, we go even deeper into the code, into the exact patterns most never see, but once revealed, change everything. The field is listening. The test is running, and your signal is already writing what comes next.